One of the biggest reasons I stayed in something for so long that didn't feel right, my career, was because I was not checking in with myself. I was prioritizing every single thing besides myself. And that's what I want to talk about in today's video, because in my video that is going viral now, that has gone viral, I talk about how I thought a new job would fix it and it didn't. And then after that, I shared a video about how I started using my 9 to 5 as a strategic asset. And then I also shared a video after that about how wanting a new life is one thing, but choosing a new life is something different. But none of that would have happened if I did not start checking in with myself. And that's what I want to specifically talk about in this video, because I talked about it briefly in the video that's going viral, but I really want to get a little bit deeper in this particular video because I had some women, make some comments about that. So I just wanted to just go a little bit deeper today, because when you stop checking in with yourself, you keep saying yes. You keep performing. You keep pushing through. And before you know it, you're on autopilot and you end up somewhere in a career, in a life that does not feel like you anymore. That was my lived experience. And when I'm sharing these conversations, they are from my lived experiences. And I know that this will not resonate with every woman, but if this resonates with you, this space is for you. Please feel free to take what resonates and leave what doesn't. And this motion of not checking in with myself, just continuing to go, perform, do, execute, go, move, shake, do all the things. That is the corporate brain rot that I've been talking about. You're functioning, you're doing well, you're exceeding, you're excelling, but you've stopped questioning your life. You've stopped questioning it. You're prioritizing every single thing but yourself. And again, I know this won't resonate with everyone, so please feel free to take what resonates and leave what doesn't. But for you, the woman who it does resonate with, I'm glad that you're here. And I want you to take what you feel like can be useful. I'm going to share what specifically worked for me. So I had to learn how to pause, take a break, take a beat, and actually can start checking in with myself and understanding what worked for me. And again, like I shared in that viral video, I didn't start doing this until I had left my corporate job and I was on my sabbatical, healing and getting clear. This is when I learned this. So this is why I'm having these conversations, in hopes that another woman won't have to hit the wall. Another woman won't have to burn out. Another woman won't have to maybe experience some of the things that I did. But even if you have, it's never too late to pivot, to change the plan, and to move differently. So I'm going to talk about the specific questions that I asked myself back then and the same questions that I continue to ask myself today that keeps me out of the corporate brain rot. So what you have to do is basically, girl, have a meeting with yourself. The same way you have your meetings in your corporate settings, you have to put some time on your calendar and have a meeting for yourself. Like, really set aside some time, especially if this is your first time doing this. Set aside some time for yourself where you can really focus and not be distracted. Even maybe have your favorite beverage, your favorite tea or sparkling water or whatever you like. Those are the things that I like. And don't rush it. Don't rush it. Just take your time, again, especially if this is your first time doing it. Also, if you're a journaling kind of girl, you might want to get a journal or a notepad, or grab your phone or whatever you need to grab, because I'm going to go over the specific questions and I'll stop here for a moment. So if you need to pause to get something to write with really quick, or just have your phone so you can take some notes. So the questions that I ask myself are, does this still work for me? And I'm meaning the job, career, life, all of the things. Does this still work for me? Write down that question and get extremely honest with the answer. The next question, do I actually want this, or am I just continuing it? Because we get into things that we're just doing because we're just doing it. I know I can talk for myself. I had gotten to a place where, I knew something felt off. I knew like I was in this life and this career now that was putting my health and wellness at risk, but I just continued it. I wasn't asking myself, is this what I really wanted? Next, you want to ask, I ask, how does this feel in my body? When I show up at work, when I interact with these clients, when I do these tasks, when I'm living my life, when I wake up in the morning, whatever it is for you, maybe, how does this feel in my body? Your body is always giving you signs. And I know for myself, I ignored it for years. And that's why I ended up being 60 pounds overweight and on 2 types of anxiety medications, because I was ignoring what my body was yelling and screaming at me. Like, I just ignored it. Again, this was years ago. I'm no longer in that space. I lost the weight, no longer on meds, living a very calm, grounded, healthy life. But asking yourself, how does this feel in my body? Tapping into that body. It's always giving you signs. The next question, what feels off that I've been ignoring? And again, this one was so hard for me, and it might be hard for you too, because when you're in that constant going, there's very little space for you to even pause to feel anything, to give your space to feel anything. So that's why I said, if this is your first time really doing this, you want to set aside some time so you're not distracted and you can get really honest with yourself and just have some quiet time, some grounded time to really think about these questions. What feels off that I've been ignoring? And again, in your life, in your career, what is it? And lastly, am I aligned with how I want to work and live right now? That is the question. Well, I continually ask myself all of these questions, but that last one is constantly on, repeat for me. Like the choices that I'm making with, building a business, still navigating a 9-to-5, the way that I'm redesigning my life. Is this aligned with the way that I want to work and live? Continuing to check in on that for yourself. For me, since my values are, excuse me, one moment. Sorry about that. I had to blow my nose. My nose was running. But since my values are heavily tied to my health and my wellness, I have to continue to check in with, are the decisions that I'm making in my business, the way that I'm building, the projects I'm taking on, the clients that I'm working with, in addition to my 9-to-5, am I still bringing value in the way that I want to bring value? Am I still making an impact? Is this environment in alignment with my health and wellness? I'm continuing to check in with myself to ask that question. So those are the questions there. And in the beginning, I had to be very intentional about this. So I would recommend, if you're trying this, if you're going to try this, then set aside, like I said, maybe 15, 30 minutes, however long that may take for you to ask yourself those 5 questions. Give yourself some some space, some quiet time, so you're not distracted. And then, like I said, either write them down in a journal. If you're a digital person, want to take notes in your phone. And that's how I would start. However, so let me back up. That's how you'll start, by writing it down. And even if that's your thing, that's how I started, writing it down. But now that I've been doing this for 4 years now, these are the questions that I'm just asking myself in real time. Like, I know I'm no longer in a space where I really need to write it down. I feel like you can kind of graduate there. And when you're just so tapped in with what your values are and you're working and leading and living in that way, you can kind of start answering these questions for yourself more quicker. Like, they come a little bit quicker. But what I was going to say was the time frame. So I do this probably bi-weekly now, kind of align it with pay periods. But I would recommend, if you're just starting out, maybe do it bi-weekly, bi-monthly, and just as a regular check-in. But feel free, if you want to just do it monthly, whatever feels best for you, whatever feels aligned for you. Again, take what resonates with you, mold it, shape it in a way that works for you. I'm just sharing what I do and what has worked for me. Now, so what to do with your answers? It'd be like, okay, Erica, now I done wrote these questions down. I done answered these questions. Like, what did I do with the answers? What do I do with the answers? And this part really matters. So I'm going to just share an example. So again, I didn't start doing this until after I had left my corporate leadership job. So on my sabbatical, got clear, very clear, what type of work, what type of impact, the environment, like super clear on everything that I desired that was in alignment for me when I was ready to go back in corporate America. So, I was interviewing for different roles that I felt were aligned, having multiple, interviews, all of the things. And when I went back into corporate, I just didn't take any role and adjust to it. I was intentional about how I entered that space. And when I was interviewing for the role that I ultimately stepped into, I even shared with the hiring manager the season I was in, a little bit about my previous career burnout. Of course, I didn't give her the nitty gritty. I did it in a very professional way, but it really resonated with her. She received it very, very well. And that was like one of the shifts that I personally made. I'm not saying that you go into jobs just bearing it all, but for yourself, you need to find out what are some of those small shifts that you can make once you have started to get really clear on how you want to work and live. And then start making those tiny, small shifts. Like, none of this happens overnight. At least I was talking to a friend the other day. I was like, girl, nothing ain't never happened overnight for me. For me, it's always been about taking small, intentional, aligned steps. And the awareness is where it starts. By asking yourself those questions is where it starts. Having those honest conversations with yourself is where it starts. And then finding those small ways that you can start to pivot to be in alignment with the way you want to work and live. And I'll also be honest that even though I am extremely clear on the way that I want to work and live as I'm rebuilding my life and, well, I could say redesigning my life, I was in the role that I stepped into next was extremely aligned, but things change. Business needs change, environment changes, leadership changes, your desires may change, your wants may change. And over time, that misalignment can start to come back in. I'm a little bit in that season now, and I'm making pivots and shifts because some misalignment is starting to come into my 9 to 5. But the thing that is different this time is I'm extremely aware of it. I'm not pushing through it. I am making these small intentional pivots to shift out of that misalignment, because this time I'm not ignoring it. And this for me was the power of those regular check-ins, because you're just not going through the flow anymore. You're not just on autopilot. You're not just in that corporate brain rot. You are checking in with yourself to see what you need. And instead of me adjusting myself to fit the role, I'm making small shifts to pivot back into the alignment, even if the alignment is outside of the current role that I'm in. So that's what it looks like in real life for me. And it's not just one question and you're done, or one decision and you're done. It's continuing to come back to yourself, to check in, to respond, to be honest, to ask yourself these questions. And that's the important part, that continuous check-in, because like I said, things change as we grow and develop. Our needs and wants change. The environments we're in changes. Business needs change. Things change. So that constant checking in is what matters. So again, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. This space is definitely for the women that can resonate with this. And if you're just starting this, like I said before, give yourself 15 to 30 minutes this week and just start asking yourself those questions and seeing what feels off for you. Because the moment you stop checking in with yourself is usually when things start to drift into that corporate brain rot. And then once the corporate brain rot continues to compound, that's when things start to fall apart. Because although I do feel like everything that happens in our lives is for a lesson, and I definitely learned some very valuable lessons from that season of my life, I'll definitely say I wish I would have caught that part a little bit sooner. So if any of this resonates with you, let me know down in the comments. Give this video a like. If you've missed any of the other conversations I've been having on this 100-day journey on YouTube, I've linked the playlist down in the description box. If you're new here, I'm so glad you're here. If this resonates with you, drop "this resonates with me" down in the comments box. I'm Erica Prevail, and I share daily conversations helping ambitious women rework their relationship with ambition, capacity, rest, and creativity. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.